Detachment is often misunderstood. People think it means not caring, not feeling, or becoming cold. Stoicism teaches the opposite. Detachment is not the absence of care. It is the absence of dependence. You can care deeply about your work, your relationships, and your values, without tying your peace to how they turn out. Most suffering begins when attachment replaces intention, when results become identity, when effort demands a specific reward. The Stoic approach is simple, but demanding. Act fully, care honestly, then release control over what follows. Detachment protects your inner stability without reducing your humanity. Attachment turns uncertainty into anxiety. When your peace depends on outcomes, every delay feels threatening. Every change feels personal. Every failure feels final. The Stoics notice that pain multiplies when expectations harden. You expect people to respond a certain way. You expect effort to guarantee success. You expect life to follow logic. Reality rarely cooperates. Detachment softens expectation. Without eliminating effort, you still try, you still care, but you stop demanding certainty from the future. This is not weakness. It is emotional intelligence. Stoicism teaches controlled engagement. You give attention where it matters, but you do not surrender your inner balance. This allows you to remain calm even when outcomes disappoint. You can love without fear, work without desperation, hope without illusion. Detachment creates space between what happens and how deeply it disturbs you. In that space, clarity appears. You respond instead of react. You adjust instead of collapse. Caring remains. Chaos does not. Expectation ties your peace to a future you cannot guarantee. Intention anchors your effort in the present you can control. Stoicism teaches you to replace expectation with intention. You show up fully. You act with care. You prepare responsibly. Then you release the demand that reality must reward you in a specific way. Expectation says, "This must work." Intention says, "I will do my part." When intention leads, disappointment loses its power. You may feel it, but it does not define you. Detachment allows effort without pressure, commitment without desperation, and persistence without emotional exhaustion. Detachment does not weaken relationships. It stabilizes them. When attachment dominates, fear enters. Fear of loss, fear of change, fear of not being enough. Stoicism teaches you to care without clinging. You treat others with respect and honesty, but you do not place your self-worth in their reactions or choices. This creates healthier distance, not emotional absence. When you stop demanding reassurance, connections become lighter and more sincere. Detachment turns love into choice, not dependency. Many people attach their identity to their work. When success fades, so does their stability. The Stoics warned against this. Your work is an action, not your worth. Detachment allows you to pursue excellence without tying your value to results. You can fail without collapse. You can succeed without arrogance. This mindset produces better work, because fear no longer interferes. When identity is protected, focus improves. Detachment makes effort sustainable. One of the fastest ways to lose peace is to hand it to other people's opinions. The Stoics understood that opinions are unstable. They change with mood, context, and self-interest. When you attach your sense of worth to how others see you, you surrender control. Detachment restores ownership. You listen to feedback without surrendering identity. You consider criticism without absorbing it as truth. You accept praise without becoming dependent on it. Opinion becomes information, not authority. When approval no longer defines you, you act more honestly, and with less fear. Detachment protects integrity. Desire becomes dangerous when it turns into urgency. Urgency narrows vision. It rushes judgment. It magnifies disappointment. Stoicism teaches you to desire calmly. You pursue goals with discipline, not emotional hunger. Detachment allows patience. It removes the feeling that everything is at stake. When desperation disappears, clarity returns. You make better decisions, because you are not negotiating with fear. Wanting something is human. Needing it to feel whole is optional. The Stoics practiced mental preparation for loss, not to invite pessimism, but to reduce shock. Everything you value is temporary. People change. Situations end. Outcomes reverse. Detachment means acknowledging this before it happens. When loss arrives, it hurts, but it does not destroy. Prepared minds bend without breaking. Acceptance in advance softens the blow without numbing the heart. This is emotional resilience. Stoicism draws a clear boundary. Control ends where intention ends. You choose your effort. You choose your conduct. You choose your values. You do not choose results. Detachment begins when you stop extending control into places it cannot exist. Trying to manage outcomes creates tension. Releasing them restores balance. This does not reduce responsibility. It clarifies it. When control is correctly placed, energy is no longer wasted. on resistance. Calm becomes natural when effort and acceptance are aligned. Many people chase security through external means, status, money, recognition. The Stoics warned that anything external can be taken away. Detachment shifts security inward. When your stability comes from character, external change loses power. You adapt instead of panic. You adjust instead of resist. This does not eliminate ambition. It removes fragility. Inner stability makes you resilient without making you rigid. Reaction is automatic. Response is deliberate. Detachment creates the pause between stimulus and action. In that pause, choice exists. Stoicism trains you to widen this space, to observe before acting, to decide rather than explode. Most conflict is born from immediate reaction. Most regret follows it. Detachment protects you by slowing the moment down. Calm action replaces emotional impulse. Suffering often survives through stories you repeat. You replay what should have happened. You imagine how things might have been different. You argue with a past that cannot respond. Stoicism teaches detachment from narrative. Events occur. Interpretations follow. When you release the story, the emotional charge weakens. Detachment does not erase memory. It removes unnecessary commentary. You keep facts. You discard drama. This clarity returns attention to the present, where action is still possible. Peace increases. When the mind stops rewriting history, attachment to timelines creates pressure. You expect progress by a certain age, success by a certain year, resolution by a certain moment. The Stoics rejected artificial deadlines. Life unfolds unevenly. Growth accelerates, then pauses. Outcomes arrive late or not at all. Detachment from timelines reduces self-judgment. You focus on direction, not speed. When urgency fades, patience strengthens. Progress becomes sustainable instead of frantic. Conditional self-worth is fragile. You feel worthy when praised, uncertain when ignored, defeated when criticized. Stoicism teaches unconditional self-respect. Your value is tied to conduct, not reaction. Detachment removes bargaining from self-worth. You act according to principle, not approval. This stability does not make you indifferent. It makes you grounded. When self-worth stands alone, external opinion loses leverage. Change is inevitable. Resistance is optional. Most pain comes not from change itself, but from clinging to what no longer exists. Stoicism teaches you to detach from fixed states. People evolve. Situations shift. Priorities realign. Detachment allows flexibility without collapse. You acknowledge change early, adapt without denial, and move forward without bitterness. This does not mean forgetting the past. It means not living inside it. A mind that accepts change stays lighter, clearer, and harder to trap. Detachment does not require withdrawal from life. You still participate. You still engage. You still contribute. The difference is internal. You stop attaching your peace to how others behave or how events conclude. This balance allows presence without entanglement. You are involved, but not consumed. This is mature calm, active, aware, and grounded. Detachment lets you stay open, without becoming vulnerable to chaos. True detachment is disciplined presence, not emotional distance. It requires daily awareness, repeated restraint, consistent reflection. You notice when attachment tightens and loosen it deliberately. This is not automatic. It is practiced. Over time, detachment becomes instinct. Calm becomes familiar. Clarity becomes default. What once controlled you no longer does. Detachment does not remove care. It removes chaos. You still show up. You still try. You still value what matters. The difference is internal. You no longer negotiate peace with outcomes. You no longer trade calm for certainty. Care becomes steady. Effort becomes clean. When attachment dissolves, clarity remains. And clarity allows you to live fully without being consumed by what you cannot control. Life will always remain uncertain. People will always act independently. Outcomes will never be guaranteed. Detachment accepts this without bitterness. You care, but you do not cling. You act, but you do not demand. This balance is strength. When peace no longer depends on external confirmation, it becomes durable. Detachment is not distance from life. It is freedom within it.